It's our plan to have our athletic program comparable to USC, to Notre Dame, to Alabama, to anybody.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Richie.
Welcome, one and all. The fans, the haters, the sickos, the fans of other teams, and anyone else who is wallowing in the joy you are watching, listening to, in some way, shape, or form, consuming the Sea of Red Liberty Football Podcast. I'm Richie Longshots, and I'm tired.
Well, Richie, it's glad to have you here. You only got, 1 week off, and you weren't even completely off that week. How is, other than being tired, how's the new family?
New family's going pretty great. I've been thrown out of the living room. I've been thrown out of what was once my podcast studio. I'm one step away from doing this in a crawl space. So everything's going great. Baby's doing great. Mrs. Longshot's doing well. So we're rolling right along. But I'm tired in a variety of ways. I'm tired of a lot of different things. And we'll get into a lot of that tonight. But great to be here. As always, again, I'm Richie Longshots, joined with the legend of the game, all things Liberty Athletics, founder, owner of Sea of Red, John Manson, and great friend, great host, Mr. Christian Taylor. They're dressed in all black. I didn't get the memo, or I didn't get the text. I tried to sneak a 30-minute nap in before I did this podcast. Sometimes you wear black to a funeral. It doesn't work out, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to get in trouble for all this.
That was not planned, and it's technically navy blue, but the lighting doesn't show it very well. But it wasn't planned. It just happened, so nobody read into what I'm wearing. My daughter had a basketball game tonight. I was at the gym. They're navy blue and gold, so I was wearing navy blue to support them. If anybody cares. So,
John, why weren't you at? Sorry, CT. John, why weren't you at the Division II girls hockey game? Reporting on that, going to the press conference. It's ridiculous.
I have no idea. I just should have gone to that. I didn't even know there was a Division II women's hockey game.
I don't know either. I just assume there's always a hockey game at all times.
There's always but wow, this thing's going off the rails.
Never a bad thing to have at least one in a season that just goes off the rails.
Yeah, no, it's not acceptable.
It's funny because we've talked about it before, but ourselves included, Liberty fans, we're spoiled. We've had a ton of success in football, obviously, and then also, men's basketball and other sports. I mean, I can't sit here and list them all out because I'll leave somebody out. But, the first ones come to mind, women's soccer and field hockey, what they just did and what they have done. And but, we're here to talk about Liberty football and you can't win them all. And we're learning that this season. And it's a tough pill to swallow, and it's not somewhere we want to be or anyone, I'm sure, that's at the FOC or the LFC, I guess they call it now, wants to be sitting here at 4-6 either. So, but, it's the bed we're in. So we just have to lay in it for now, right?
Yeah, there's really no way around it. You could sit and point to this is the reason, that's the reason. Combination of multiple reasons, and at the end of the day, we know what we know. There's a lot of things I'm sure that we don't know that we're not privy into seeing, and I think at the end of the day, everyone's disappointed. Some are angry, some are sad, some are tired, with a range of all of those emotions. But at the end of the day, I think I've said it many times. Everyone is disappointed with the way the season has gone, from your freshman first year fans to your Dennis Fields, who's been around this program for 30, 40 years, to the coaching staff, to the players. It's a universal feeling. It stinks. It's not something that we've really been used to, where it's been in this situation this late in the season, facing down a potential losing season and all that. So it's uncharted waters, which is always scary in any situation. I wouldn't say scary, because at the end of the day, it's football, so it's not really scary, but it's uncomfortable. So it's an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head, and I mean 2006, 2005 technically was the last year we did not win 6 games. So you're going on 20 years of great success. I mean, and I can remember that was the first year under Danny Rocco as head coach, and this is the first year since Turner Gill was head coach that we won't win 8 games. So we've had a lot of success, and obviously having a down year, and hopefully we can get it turned around quicker than sooner than later. But it is what it is.
Yeah. CT, do you know what you should do anytime you do feel uncomfortable, maybe taking a step out of your comfort zone?
I had to think about it for a little bit, but I know what I would do. And I would take a nice vacation, and I would head on down to Leesburg, Florida.
Oh, why Leesburg? Roll the ad.
It's real Florida. It's old Florida, and it's close to all of the Central Florida attractions, crystal clear natural springs, and one of the largest chain of lakes. The beautiful lakefront city of Leesburg offers the best in outdoor adventures, fishing, and quaint shops and restaurants on historic downtown Main Street. Come visit and see how welcoming a hometown city feels. Experience Leesburg the way Florida is meant to be.
Hopefully everybody's figured out our quirky little transitions. And after Leesburg, it's always our favorite segment of the podcast with Jason Porter. And this week, Jacob Jenkins joining us. JP, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I always am hesitant, though, to follow Leesburg. I don't know how you do that. So just trying to make ends meet, Johnny.
There's no real good transition out of the Leesburg ad. It's just and it's also a free ad for Leesburg. That hasn't always been the case, but it's become a staple of the show. So it's tradition. We have to play the Leesburg, Florida ad. I mean, they sent Richie Longshots a T-shirt, Leesburg, Florida T-shirt. So we will support them forever. Jacob, Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins, joining us as he has throughout the season. Jacob, how are you doing tonight? Tuesday evening. How are you?
Good. I just took a break with watching Dancing with the Stars with my wife. So thanks for getting me out of that tonight.
Oh, okay. Dancing with the Stars, guys. So I don't even know if you know Rashad Jennings, but did you watch the episode with Rashad Jennings? Was that last week?
I personally don't watch them, but I was tonight because she wanted to watch it. But yeah, I did keep up with that, and she told me all about it, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, Liberty legend. He's got his. Does he have his number retired yet? I think he does. Rashad Jennings. He's in the Liberty Hall of Fame, I think, as well too. One of the greatest Liberty football players of all time. A running back, and played for the New York Giants as well as other teams in the NFL, and won Dancing with Stars several years ago. But yeah, Jacob. So back to Liberty football now, and take us back to Saturday evening down in Miami at Pit Bull Stadium. Kind of a crazy game, crazy finish, especially those last 3 or 4 minutes of regulation, and then obviously overtime. Obviously, it comes up. Flames come up short in overtime, but you had a huge catch. I mean, what was it? 2nd and 19, 3rd and 19, whatever it was, and you picked up 18 yards there late on that late drive to set up that field goal. Just kind of take us through, that play and kind of those frantic last couple of minutes for the team and the offense specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating. That after you said that catch, we wanted to. I mean, you need to score there. We got the ball first. We ended up getting the first down. I was short a yard. We got the first down, and then, you want to score when you're 1st and 10 on the 25. That's a scoring thing. You don't want to settle with a field goal, especially in a close game late in the 4th. So we kicked the field goal. had to do that. And then, right before half too, we got a false start. So that took a 50-yard field goal off the board for us, and when it's a 3-point game at the end, that's something that you look back on. And just little things like that. And then kind of towards the end of the game, you have that good 2-minute drive, quick 2-minute where you hit Dante. And then that little confusion towards the end where we rushed the field goal team on and all that. But, it went in, and then overtime, there was a lot. It comes down to just not making the big play when you need to make the big play. And I feel like that's a occurrence with us. And every game we've played and the ones we won and lost, all of them have seemed to come down to the fourth quarter, and you're playing the fourth. And so you always look back on the game and realize, like, when you need to make a play, there wasn't a play that was made, whether that's the overtime or if you look at the field goal right before half, or even when you stall out the first 2 drives coming out of half, which is big when you have a lead and you can jump on them again and get a 14-point lead right out of half. That's a big momentum play, and especially in close ones where you keep playing close ones. So that's kind of stuff when you're looking back on Saturday, what we wish we could have gotten. And there's a little things like that that maybe prevents you from getting in an overtime situation, period. But, we fought, and, we're going to keep fighting. So that's kind of win or go home.
John, I'm having audio issues again with Jacob. I can't hear him. I can hear you fine. But a couple of things here real quick, Jacob. This just amazes me. There were some stats here, not to be the stat guy, but I want to throw a couple things out because I don't know if our fans realize it was a razor-thin game, man, at the end. You go back and you look at the stats. First downs, 25 to 22. Rushing yards, 160 to 169. Passing yards, 218 to 206. Here's the one that got us. Total offensive yards, 378 to 375, literally 3 yards difference. Yeah. As you guys go back and look at it, did it really feel like it was that tight? Obviously, we go into overtime, so it was clearly tight on the scoreboard side as well. But did the game literally feel that tight for whatever that means?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you said that. I literally looked that up right when I got on this podcast while they were doing the opening segment. Because, it felt tight, but then it felt like we were in positions to kind of shut it out and put them away. And I'm sure for them it felt the same. But games like that, we knew it was going to be close. They're a good team. They've won and played good games. So that it's going to be close. And I would say it felt that close towards the end, especially. But like I said earlier, it's that coming out of half where you can really put a dent in it and kind of kill their momentum early that we just didn't do, which is the frustrating part.
Visiting with Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins, and this portion of the podcast is sponsored by RT Rogers, as it is each and every week and has been all season. Jacob, tell us a little bit more about RT Rogers.
Yeah, so for over 50 years, our family-owned and operated oil company has been powering homes, farms, and businesses in our community. Whether you need residential or commercial propane and heating oil, generators, or expert service, we've got you covered. We also offer top-quality commercial and agricultural fuels, tanks, lubricants, and equipment, plus wholesale opportunities to help your business grow. Trust the experience and dedication that only a family business can deliver. Call us today and experience the difference.
Jake, appreciate you joining us throughout the season. I know it's a lot easier, I'm sure. Like 2 weeks ago when you had a career game and coming off that big win over Delaware and things were riding high. But you and Eli have been true champs all season and coming on even after tough losses and when things aren't going your way. I know it'd been a lot easier to keep watching Dancing with the Stars, even if you say you don't want to, but appreciate you and hope you guys get a couple wins here so you can get to a bowl game.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. It's part of it. And hopefully we get these 2 wins and then get a bowl game and finish with a winning season.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, Jacob. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, JJ. That married man life, John. That married man life, Jacob Jenkins, right? Dancing with the Stars now all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But no, shout out to him. I don't just say that because he's on here or people are watching and listening to us. But shout out to Jacob and Eli. And shout out to you, JP. You recommended those guys back in the summer, and they've been true pros, joining us each and every week. And I say this, and I've said it before, and I hope it doesn't fall on deaf ears. Like, the people, and it's not just football, it's across campus. I mean, I go to press conferences of just about every sport and talk to student athletes, like I said, across campus. And there's so many terrific young people on this campus, and Jacob's no different. Eli's no different. And it's awesome that, we have this opportunity. Even when we're disappointed and upset that we're 4-6, like, yeah, I get it. But, it's awesome that we have those guys to kind of, shed a little bit of light on who they are and who we are as a university.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, they are the true epitomes of champions for Christ. And man, I mean, the wins are fun, but the losses is really where you build character and all those other cliches we know about. But to your point, John, we've got some incredible student athletes on the Liberty campus that represent our school well.
JP, I thought you'd want to talk about 50-year mortgages tonight, but no, you wanted to talk. Let's talk about commercial real estate. How is I know you dabble in that. How's that market looking right now?
Yeah, I do quite a bit of commercial real estate as well as residential, which is a lot of fun. And I think the public service announcement, the old PSA here for commercial real estate right now, is that things are really picking up on the commercial side. It does have a lot to do with rates, not so much the 50-year mortgage side, but more so just because there are some rate cuts. So had a lot of my commercial clients with money back in the game now because the money or the rates are starting to pencil out. The lease rates are starting to pencil out. Moral of the story, I think, more than anything, would just be that if you're looking for anything commercial real estate wise, specifically on the leasing side here in the Lynchburg area, Madison Heights, Amherst, those particular areas that I'm the most familiar with. There's a lot of opportunity right now for some really good leasing opportunities. So whether it's a business space, restaurant space, small business, whatever the case may be, love to talk with you again about that. Contact information's on the screen, but lots of properties now available for lease on the commercial side, certainly buying and selling as well, but more opportunities in commercial real estate than there have been for a while.
Good stuff. Appreciate you, JP. Hope you get some gumbo this weekend down in Louisiana.
I'll do my best, John. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon, man.
All right. Thanks. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. And I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
Welcome back. Always great to hear from some people inside the program. and get kind of that insight. I threw in the comments that my wife, big Dancing with the Stars fan, and that is her time during that show. During when we do our show, she's in there doing Dancing with the Stars. So I was cool to tell her, I met Rashad Jennings at Boondocks back in the day. So that was great to see. So FIU Saturday at Pitbull Stadium. Entertaining game. Kind of we've seen a lot of trend of Liberty. Maybe not a trend, but what we've seen a lot in the last few games. Liberty getting off to a strong start. That first drive, setting the tone, and then kind of that momentum slipping away in the second half. Shooting themselves in the foot, and just whether it's penalties, stalled drives, things like that. Yeah, entertaining game.
It was an entertaining game. There's no doubt about that. I'm laughing because I'm looking at CT, and I know he's over here reading these comments, which we appreciate you guys. Stay in the comments, and we'll get to some of those comments and questions in the last segment like we do every week. But it was it was a crazy game. Like when you go back and think about like what happened, like the offense came out firing on all cylinders, and we scored touchdowns on 3 straight drives, and then the defense couldn't get stopped, so they stayed right in it, and it was crazy. We had the opportunity. Jacob Jenkins talked about it. The field goal, 53-yard field goal, which shout out to Jay Billingsley. I mean, he's been overshadowed due to the team struggles, but he's been a stud. Probably should be an all-conference kicker at the end of the season. But had that field goal taken off, and then we got the ball to start the second half and went 3-and-out. We had the opportunities to take it, have a 2-score lead going midway into the third quarter, and did not capitalize on that. Then obviously it comes down to 1 or 2 plays here at the end of the game, and again, you heard Jacob talking about it too, is like there's been so many games that were decided by 1 or 2 plays. Obviously these last 2 weeks against FIU and Missouri State. You can also go back to like even the UTEP game was really close there in the fourth quarter as they made a late run. And then, those games back in September too, even Maine, that was a tied game going into the fourth quarter. And then obviously Jack State and Bowling Green could have gone either way. And it seems like this year, obviously we're coming up on the wrong side of those 1-score games more than we're not.
Yeah. I feel like it goes back to something that we said last week, and it's just ultimately inconsistency. And we saw again, and I feel like it's just echoed kind of what we said. Like the offense showed up for a decent amount of the first half. Great. The defense was struggling. Defense started improving. The offense went away. At least that's how it felt during the game. And so it's just like, I feel like maybe we've had two halves all season where it felt like both sides of the ball were playing solid. And outside of that, it's been one or the other or neither. And yeah, that's what led us to, losing this game in overtime.
Yeah. And if you go back to the end of the game, there's a couple plays that kind of stick out in my mind, especially as we're in the midst of this 4-6 season that, we're all disappointed with. And, the team has not met expectations, obviously. But and these plays did not affect the outcome. We still got to overtime. But the 4th and 6, when we had the ball inside the red zone, where we were the 14-yard line or so, I think it was. And it's 2.5-3 minutes left. You're down by 6, and you lined up to go for it on 4th down. And Coach Chadwell said in his press conference today, on Tuesday, that it was his intention, it was the team's intention to go for it there to try to win, which in the moment I thought that's what you needed to do. The field goal there, you might not ever get the ball back, and we almost didn't. And even if you do, your time's going to be a critical factor. And but anyways, it's 4th and 6, and we end up taking a delay of game. you don't get the penalty, you don't get the play call in on time, you don't get the ball snapped, and you don't call a timeout. You hit all 3 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout still to play with. And that happens. And then later in the game, the last play of regulation, everybody, I hear so much in the last 2 or 3 days about that fire drill and how great it was and how it worked out. And yes, great execution, but it wasn't good execution because we didn't need to do the fire drill. Like when we got the first down, the clock stops. We didn't have any timeouts. It was 4 seconds left on the clock. The best thing to do is to run to the ball and spike it. And if you looked at the players, go back and watch the replay, like half of the offense was lining up to spike the ball. The other half was running off. And so it was a lot of chaos. And again, those 2 plays are just, in my mind, I'm having a hard time getting them out of my mind. They're microcosms for bigger issues that we've seen throughout the season. And again, in my mind, those can only go back to coaching. Whether you're not being prepared, the team's not being prepared, you're not making the right moments in critical situations as a coach, as a coaching staff. And it's frustrating. It's disappointing. You would think we wouldn't be having those blunders. Nobody's perfect, right? We all make mistakes, but it's happened over and over again. And it's really disappointing. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, the sequence that stuck out to me, and a big thing is that when you have that momentum, you have to shut the door. You have to remove all doubt, take the heart out of them. We saw it with Delaware. It's not like it's an impossible thing. You have the ball, end of the half, with the lead. It's point sandwich opportunity. Points, halftime, points. Go down, make a field goal. Shout out Billingsley. Kid banged a 53-yarder, beautiful kick. And then false start, backs it up 5. And that's tough for any kicker to make 2 straight 50-yard field goals. I saw people complaining on like, why didn't he kick it again? Like, that's a tough thing to do, to make 2 50-yard field goals, let alone now you back it up to 58. So no issue with the decision-making there. It's just ruined momentum where I forget what the score was. I think it was a 4-point game at half. You now have a touchdown lead and you're getting the ball. Everything changes in that situation. And it's just when you have that opportunity, that killer instinct to really have that statement moment that, we win this game, we're sitting here saying how big of a field goal that was to make it 7 points with the ball at half. You're coming out, you score again, you're up 14 points now. Everything changes. You can run the ball, control the clock, defense can do their thing, and now it's a 4-point game. Remains a 4-point game. You don't score on that next drive. All the momentum is in FIU's favor, and they were able to take advantage of that. But just a tough situation.
Yeah, and also you talk about the penalty that took the points off the field, off the board. How many times has that happened this season? Like, we lose at Jacksonville State primarily due to that and turnovers. Same thing against Bowling Green, same thing against FIU. It's happened over and over again. It happened some last year too. And again, like once or twice or 3 times that stuff like that happens, like it's like, stuff happens. These are kids. But it happens all the time. So something's not connecting from the coaching staff to the players to the execution on the field. And, it just, again, like I was saying a minute ago, it's another area that is just, leaves you scratching your head.
Yeah. I don't know how much more there is to say that hasn't been said tonight or other weeks, but even when JP and Jacob were talking, and one of y'all started listing out some of the stats of the game. I think it was Jason Porter, and he said like, "Hey, yeah, there's like 3 yards difference," which crazy stat, interesting, all those kind of things. My mind went to like, and I can't believe that we're talking about a battle of 3 yards difference between us and FIU. Like just a year ago, 2 years ago, like that wouldn't have been in the discussion. And yes, like I'm still a firm believer that we can have a bad season. I'm a firm believer that we've probably been spoiled over the past few years. But with those things being said, just like hearing those stats and just like us being level with some of these teams and losing to some of these teams just makes you shake your head.
Humbling.
Yeah.
It really is humbling. And one thing that I was thinking about the last couple of days is quarterback play can overcome a lot of wrongs, can cover up a lot of wrongs. And maybe that's what's kind of helped us in the past. I mean, we saw what Malik Willis did Sunday for the Packers, right? Come in off the bench and gets a touchdown. And Caden, we can sit here and talk about, how that thing transpired and how things are happening for him at Colorado. But, like, go back and look at what he did in 2023. Like, he was a dynamic player. And we don't have that quarterback play right now. We don't have a guy that when the game's on the line, he's just going to figure out a way to make it happen. And you go back to the play before the fourth down where we got the delay of game where Vasco's rolling to his right on that 3rd and 6. Again, game's in the balance. You make a play there, you score a touchdown there, you probably win the game. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not in his head. Obviously, I don't see what he sees, but he rolls around to his right and he just throws the ball at the ground of the running back. I think it was Von Blue's feet. We don't even have a shot to make a play or to pick up yards. And and then in overtime too, a couple of plays where he could have made a play and we just didn't make the play. And again, I'm not trying to bag on Vasco or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, when you have a quarterback that can make those plays, it covers up a lot of wrongs.
Yeah, I mean, we don't win Conference USA in 2023 without Caden Salter. We don't go undefeated in we didn't go undefeated. We don't have one loss in 2020 without Malik Willis. There was always that feeling of, even when we were down, that when it was a shootout, that Conference USA was like, I have no doubt in my mind that Caden Salter is going to do something to help us win this game. And on the flip side, and again, I have no ill will towards Ethan Vasco. Everyone says he's a nothing but a stand-up guy, but the reality is it's kind of the opposite. Is what is going to happen that we're going to lose this game, and not just him. Whether it's a tipped pass or a fumble in some capacity, it's just that whole vibe has changed. Of we can come back and win this game. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about how we're going to lose this game. Like, what's going to go wrong as opposed to what's going to go right, which isn't a fun feeling to be. It's a new feeling. And it is not say it is what it is, because it just writes it off like it's okay, because it's not okay. And we expect more. We all do. I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, the quarterback play is the most important position in all sports for a reason. So that.
I don't know what else we can say about it. Like, we were all chatting this week in our group chat and kind of like, I don't even know what you get on the podcast and say, because, it's like the same thing keeps happening over and over again. And, here we are. But disappointing game, disappointing season, disappointing place that we find ourselves in. And, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But we have another game. We
do. La Tech. Sonny Cumbie. La Tech, I think they've exceeded expectations this year around par for the course, and a lot of people were calling for his job in the beginning of the year. La Tech on their way out of Conference USA. Another reason only goes to show you that how good you do with football has nothing to do with you getting into a new conference. When it's La Tech and maybe this is the way. La Tech and UTEP out of here. Is this our last game against La Tech or one more year?
No, they're moving to the Sun Belt. I don't know. Next year. They got one more year in Conference USA, I believe.
Who knows? It is what it is. But 5-5, they're coming off a loss against Washington State, one of those weird Pac-12 games that in the middle of the year that some team from a conference plays them or Oregon State, and 28-3 loss. They're still fighting for bowl eligibility, and I guess technically as are we. But yeah, I don't know. Let me pull up, because I don't have a deep dive on La Tech because I've been busy trying to raise a child.
Yeah, they started off the season pretty hot, and they looked like, oh, they could be competing in Conference USA. And then it's kind of crumbled back to earth seemingly in the past month or so. But yeah, Sonny Cumbie has, I feel like, been up and down. I feel like it's like been thought that he could be a pretty good coach. He hasn't really come through. It seems like in most of his seasons at Louisiana Tech. But yeah, like you said, they could get to a bowl game.
Wait, did you guys see that they put Tulane over JMU?
Did not.
Oh, that is going to be.
Those rankings used to be on our radar.
That is going to be a storm on social media if they have Tulane over JMU. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that to CT's point, Louisiana Tech, they started off the season 4-1, and that only loss was to LSU, and it was like a 27-3 game against the Tigers down in Baton Rouge, so respectable. But it's obviously flipped on them, and they've gone 1-4 obviously in their last 5, and are coming off 2 straight losses, including the one at Washington State. And, I think Cumbie coming into the season was firmly on the hot seat. And then he starts off 4-1. And there was a time there, 2 or 3 weeks, that it looked like they were the top team in Conference USA and maybe the favorite to win the league. And then they've kind of fallen off. And here they are with just 2 games left. Their last game at home this weekend, they're going to be trying to win this one to get to a bowl game. And Cumbie, like we're kind of talking about, he's fighting for his job. Similarly to Chadwell, but a little bit different. I don't know. Louisiana Tech did get to a bowl game last year. They were one of those 5-7 teams that kind of backed into the game. I think it was the one that Marshall opted out of because they didn't have enough players to play. But so Louisiana Tech's been down bad the last 3 seasons, and if they can win the last 2 games or at least one of the last 2, maybe Cumbie will stick around a little bit. To dive a little bit deeper into them, their defense has been really good. They lead the country in defensive touchdowns. They have 5 pick sixes and 2 fumble scoop and scores. They're number 1 in Conference USA in scoring defense, holding opponents under 20 points per game. And so they've gotten things done on that side of the ball all season long. I mentioned the LSU score. They held them under 30 points. And they've been really solid. They're really good against the run. So that'll be a big test for us. Our run offense against their run defense, in my opinion, probably decides the game Saturday. And then on the other side of the ball, it's a little bit different. And Coach Cumbie is a former quarterback. So he's in the past has had really good quarterback play or at least good quarterback play. But this year he's had some issues, injuries as well. So last week they had 2 different quarterbacks play, and I would imagine they have 2 different quarterbacks play again this week. And it's kind of similar if you remember back early in the season, JMU in that Louisville game, the game before they played us, was kind of rotating their 2 quarterbacks in and out like almost every play. Louisiana Tech did a little bit of that last week against Washington State, their first game post ACL tear for their starting quarterback who had started 7 or 8 games. So they've had a lot of issues or struggles on offense, primarily due to their quarterback play.
Yeah, just a side note. So Liberty opened 1.5-point favorites. They remain 1.5-point favorites. Over under 44.5 in that range. Not very high scoring. I look back the game 2 years ago. The over under was 59.5. So big difference from that November game, which Liberty did win, 56-30. But La Tech, they're 4-1 at home. So definitely a difference between where they're at home and traveling on the road. So an interesting facet as well. And we'll be interested to see kind of what does Liberty look like? Or are we going to just throw the kitchen sink, throw it out, see what happens, throw caution to the wind, maybe see some backups? There's also some people online saying, hey, maybe do we want to start trying out some backups, seeing what that looks like, some of the younger guys. So it's a finicky way to handle this situation. But Vegas thinks we're going to win, or at least has the point spread so that they get people to bet on us, but they don't think we're going to win. But I don't know. A lot of intricacies there, but who knows? I don't know. I'm retiring from trying to make predictions for at least the next 2 weeks.
I may be wrong, Richie, but I think I've seen something. Maybe it's changed this evening, but I think earlier in the day I was checking, and depending on what sportsbook you look, you might see Liberty either favored by 1.5 or La Tech favored by 1.5. So it's kind of going back and forth, kind of hovering over that money line play there. But yeah, it's interesting that both teams are kind of in weird spots, playing for a bowl game, but out of conference championship type of aspirations. And I feel like for Liberty, you're talking about playing backups. Like, I don't think you do that this week. I think you're still trying to get to bowl eligibility. If you lose this week, then who knows what you see next week against Kennesaw State. But I think you still roll out whoever you think is your best players, which is, I guess, who we've seen all season. So I don't think you change much from that perspective. Like I said, I really think if we can get a lead in this game against Louisiana Tech by running the ball effectively against our run defense and can play from ahead, we likely win the game. But if not, then and regardless, I still think it's a game decided in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's what most of our Conference USA games have been. Other than that Delaware game, which is really weird. That's the anomaly of the season, I think. We'll look back and say, but I'd expect this to be a game decided in the fourth quarter. And at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. I hope we get to 6 wins, but the only reason why you want to win, right? But I want to get to 6 wins. So we're going on 20 years of 6-win seasons. Yeah. We're going on 7 straight years of bowl eligibility season, been bowl eligible every year at the FBS level. I want to keep those streaks alive. So when 20 years from now, I can tell my grandkids, oh yeah, I remember that 2025 season. We won those last 2 games to get to a bowl game.
Snuck into a bowl, yeah.
That might be the only thing I remember from the season, but I like to.
I'll remember that fire drill field goal will go down in Liberty history as maybe that was just incredible.
But between that fire drill field goal and that fumble Vasco had the week prior, are those not the 2 most insane plays in Liberty football history of that we've ever had, and back-to-back weeks?
How many crazy, just in the last 5 years, the fumble on the goal line against Coastal. Just what is happening right now? The field goal, not field goal against Virginia Tech. The last two season. Weeks, yeah, just weird things happen sometimes, and I'm sure there's many other schools that have had wild situations, but we've had some moments over the years of what is happening right now? This is not something that happens in a normal college football game.
And you still lose after those plays.
Yeah.
That's what's even crazier.
Yeah. No, when I saw them all running on the field, I'm like, what is happening right now? First off, I didn't think they were going to kick. Even if they had a timeout, I didn't think they were going to kick the field goal. But they sent them out. They pulled. So shout out. I would have put any amount of money on if you said they're going to run a fire drill field goal with 4 seconds left and make it. And we said a lot of bad things about kickers. That has been a shining point of the season. Turn things around. Shout out. Billingsley.
If I'm FIU's head coach, I'm up in the operations box or whatever, talking to the game clock operator and are you serious? You couldn't find a way to make 4 seconds run off the clock in that amount of time? I mean that was again, I know the clock stops momentarily for the change to reset, but that was the longest 4 seconds ever. How did you have an entire team run off and a special teams unit comes on when there was, confusion as to what are we doing, and you get the kickoff and you make it. I mean, what was that, a 48, 49-yard field goal, and you make it in 4 seconds? I don't see how you do that.
Flawlessly flawed.
You forgot this.
Yeah, friend of the program, Mike.
How could I forget that play? Yeah. Listen, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So if we can laugh at some of the just preposterous things that have happened, then
how about the Arkansas game? KJ Jefferson with the 2-point conversion that we stopped.
As God is my witness, watching it live, I thought he scored. I'm like, there's no way he didn't just score. And even on replay, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he just scored. But what do I know?
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Oh, what a world we've. But you know what? It's those memories that you sit back and you'll be sitting at a tailgate 15, 20 years from now at homecoming and be like, remember that? Remember when they ran that fire drill field goal against FIU? Or the tipped pass against Sam Houston to keep the undefeated season alive? Like, we should have one of those, you know, in like the old like 90s sitcoms, they would do just like a flashback episode, which was just like a flashback, like memories of Liberty football. Maybe an off-season podcast.
If this game doesn't go the way we want it to go on Saturday, maybe next Tuesday, that's what we do.
Zeke,
we have a
start getting the clips ready, Zeke.
Yeah, we have a flashback to the 2020 season and be like, we're just pretending like it's, you know, November of 2020.
Yeah. We'll start with the original Coastal block. 2014 was it?
2014, yeah.
2014 to go to the playoffs. That was also why they were number one team in the country at that time.
Yeah, undefeated.
And I'm not saying that knocking anyone because Coach Staff wasn't there for that. So that was just, we've had some wild plays between now and then.
Pretty much every single one of those that we mentioned, except for the Wake Forest one, went in our favor as well. So like as we start talking about these, my only like glass half full is like this season is just balancing out everything that has gone our way the past 10 years.
Yeah,
we lost and we're clear after that. So.
Yeah, listen. I'd rather have these wild scenarios come up and happen in a 4-6 season. It couldn't fathom something like that happening in a conference championship game. Like, we would just be absolutely distraught. So we'll take it.
I will say, I might get burned at the stake for this by the comments, but like, give me 10 years of what we had, or like, I will take one bad year if it means we get another 10 years of what we had.
Oh, 100%. Sign me up. If we have to go 4-8 this year to immediately turn it around next year and get back on the right track, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll do that once every 10 years. Come on, sign me up.
Yeah, I have a long personal belief that if any of my favorite teams win a championship, I don't complain for 5 years. And I look at going to the Fiesta Bowl, you're winning the G5 championship now. So I'm disappointed. I'm mad, but I'm not as mad as other people are. I'm disappointed. Things could be better, absolutely. But I'm still, and you could say, oh, new season. Me personally, it's you get a 5-year grace before I start to complain and get angry.
When you mentioned the Fiesta Bowl, and I'm sure we've all thought this in the last few weeks, it is crazy to think that in less than 2 years, we've gone from being at the Fiesta Bowl and that mountaintop experience to sitting here basically the same team as FIU. Like, what in the world? What type of world are we living in?
Yeah. And when you say mountaintop, you literally hiked the mountain.
Literally.
You hiked the mountain that day. Tried to get me to go hiking on a mountain. We were out at the Barstool Sportsbook Bar until God knows how long. And the next morning, John's like, do you want to go hiking? I don't even know what time zone I'm in, John. You want me to go hiking?
I think I'm gonna transition to the fan comments because, you know, one of them that was in there, and it's kind of a paraphrase of a couple of them, but basically, you know, there's been some comments insinuating that the move to Conference USA has set us up on a path towards mediocrity and being an average football team. My pushback would be, being in Conference USA allowed us to get to the Fiesta Bowl. We couldn't do that as an independent. And I don't think that move has set us up. I think we're having a bad season. That's just my 2 cents. Do you guys have any thoughts there?
Yeah, you know, we said that when we left the independent world that you're going to lose certain things, but you're also going to gain certain things. And it is still early, you know, with 3 year, who knows what, you know, next year's a very telling year in a lot of ways. But I don't know if I truly understood the question, but I think there's good and bad about leaving the conference. So,
did we want to touch on this one before we get into the other ones? I thought this was, Truth Seeker 2106 left this comment at 11 o'clock this morning. So when I logged
that's commitment. Shout out Truth Seeker.
When I logged in, this was the first thing I saw. If we end up having a losing season with no bowl game, what is the likelihood Chadwell gets fired? Seems there's other P4 coaches on the market. What are you guys' thoughts?
Richie, just so you know, Seeking Truth happens 24/7. So just to get that clear.
That's true. I should know better than that. I believe that Jamie Chadwell will be the Liberty football coach in 2026. I am not an insider. I have no inside information. I am not a paid shill. I don't have Ian McCall's phone number. The last time I talked to Ian was at a basketball game in February, and it was just like, how's it going, Ian? So I have no inside information. I think that firing a head coach who took you to the promised land two years ago, what quality head coach are you going to find that is going to go, I want to go to that school where all it takes is 2 bad years to get fired, where the leash is that short, where you come in and things don't go your way right away, and then you don't figure it out, you're gone. And that's the way that college sports are, the ways that all sports are right now, is that the expectation is to win every year, regardless, no excuses. It is what it is. I look at North Texas. I don't know the coach's name off the top of my head. I don't know the exact numbers, but he was kind of like 6-6, 5-7, 6-6, 7-5, and they're having a good year. Brent Venables. People were calling for Brent Venables' job after his first year at Oklahoma, after his second year at Oklahoma. What's he on, year 3 right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And turned it around. So I don't think that firing Jamie Chadwell is going to be a wise decision. If we're sitting here a year from now and we're having the same conversation, I think that there's people smarter than me. And I tweeted this. I said, I don't know what things look like financially and all that I don't think Jamie Chadwell should be fired by any means, because it just sets a dangerous precedent of 2 bad years and you're out. So I don't think so. I'm confident in that he will be our head coach, and you rally behind your head coach.
Here's a comment here about, the assistant coaches we had during the Fiesta Bowl season are gone. Jamie needs to build a good staff again. And I think, it's a comment, a topic we need to just discuss. And no, it's actually been the exact same coaching staff all 3 seasons that Coach Chadwell has had since he's been here. And I think there needs to be changes to that coaching staff. I don't know. I'm not saying what positions, and maybe some guys get, promotions into, maybe get similar jobs at a P4 school or something. Maybe they're making more money. And so maybe it's not a bad move, on the outside type thing. But I do think there will be changes to the coaching staff. I don't know how that will all play out. I don't know who it will be. I think it needs to be. I think you need some fresh blood, some fresh energy, fresh outlook, fresh perspectives, fresh ideas, just to rejuvenate this program right now. And I kind of agree with what you said too, Richie. And I think another thing we probably haven't talked about much either is, like, there's a financial number tied to Coach Chadwell as far as, like, and again, none of us are in Ian McCall's head, right? Like, we don't know what he's thinking. Maybe he wants to move on. Maybe he's like, no, I'm locked in for 2 more years. I don't know. But there's a number that would be tied to that. And maybe Ian knows that number is too much for him to ask for to make a move now. If there's any – if you 100% know that that's the move you have to make, then that's a different conversation. I don't think we're in that boat yet. I do think next year is basically do or die type thing. And I mean, that doesn't mean you have to go 13-0 and or make the CFP, but I mean, you can't be 5-7, 6-6 next year, right? Like things have to change, and Chadwell knows that. Chadwell has to make changes in a number of areas, and he knows that. We talked about some of that last week, so you can go back and listen. But if you missed it, but yeah, I mean, I think there will be. It's unusual to have the same assistant coaching staff for 3 straight seasons. That's unusual, and like I said, I don't think you'll see that happen for a 4th straight year.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to add to what both of you said about just his job and different things is, on top of just the financial ramifications of a buyout and stuff, we have to think about just the landscape of coaching changes this season. There's a lot of open, high-quality Power 4 jobs open right now. And realistically, no matter how the season went, realistically, we're towards the bottom of that food chain. Even at the top of the group of 5, like, we're towards the bottom of that food chain. So, like, we're probably not going to get probably our number 1 choice. Like, that, it's probably not going to be possible this year. And or our options could be more limited than in other seasons because of what the coaching carousel could look like this year. So that's the other thing that you have to factor in. Like, hey, is this the best time to strike? If you want to put it that way. And I don't think this season is.
Yeah, I think another thing that I haven't seen or heard anybody else mention or talk about that I think we should at least address is I don't expect this to happen. I don't think there's a 0% chance though that Chadwell doesn't leave on his own accord. Like, maybe the conversations that he has with Ian right after the season don't go the way he wants it, or maybe he just knows that he's feeling a lot of pressure and next season's a very important year for him. And due to all those jobs being open, there's going to be a lot of trickle down into the G5. And maybe there's a Georgia Southern, for example, comes open and they come to him and he thinks that's a good opportunity for him. Again, I don't think what I know about Chadwell, I don't think he wants to, pack up and leave when things aren't going well. I think he would want to stick it out and figure it out and give it his best shot. But I'm not going to say there's not a 0% chance that doesn't happen. So that's something to consider as well too. Again, I don't expect that to happen, but it's something that should at least maybe be in the back of our minds as we head into these next few weeks.
Yeah, it happened. It happened 11 months ago. Like, we're all different. Mississippi State. Like, there was a lot of whispers even after last year's down year. There were still people. I think Jamie Chadwell is looked at nationally as a very good football coach. And,
yes,
you just dry search Jamie Chadwell, you see fans of Power 4 teams putting him on their short list of saying, this is who I would love at Florida. This is who I would like at Arkansas. So I think he is still a respected coach. And I don't think one bad season changes that viewpoint, as much as we think it does outside of our view of Liberty, of him as a coach.
Yeah, most definitely. Got another comment here from Dan Moyer. I know he's been in the live comments sometimes as well. He said, long-term, how does the season impact recruiting, the transfer portal, NIL, revenue sharing, etc.? Does revenue sharing allow us to bounce back quickly, or does this take years to undo?
I think that in college football, and again, it's a smaller scale. We are not investing revenue share wise. I'll be specific with my words when talking about this. So I'm not comparing us and our revenue share money that we're putting into the athletes, the same as Texas Tech, but you saw what Texas Tech did this year. They unloaded the checkbook and brought in a bunch of guys. So, like, in this era of college football where you have such turnover, the potential for boom or bust seasons is so much greater. And we saw that this year where this was a bust season, bringing in Some players, I'm not going to call them all busts, but when you add the sums of all the parts together, it is. But in this era, it's there where you can absolutely boom, where you get 8 to 10 guys in the portal that just pop and turn everything around. So it's definitely possible. I mean, basketball had a down year in, what was it, 23?
Mm-hmm.
And McKay, shout out Coach McKay, really started to embrace that transfer portal piece and the revenue share and NIL. And now we're, maybe the best mid-major G5 team. Basketball is different. We're ranked very high when people look at the mid-major scale. So it really is. I think there's more opportunities now in this era of college football to turn it around quicker, but there's also more opportunities for it to be more of a bust. So I don't think it's going to be something that ruins a program of having a down year, where you could turn things around pretty quickly with the right, getting the right people in at the right time.
Yeah, Deion Sanders even said, sorry, John, just really quickly on that. Deion Sanders literally said basically the same thing today in a press conference I saw. He said, and not talking about any players in particular or anything like that, but just in general, he said he had misses in terms of player evaluation this past year. And he was like, hey, just because that doesn't mean that I've forgotten how to coach in 1 year. He's like, no, I just missed on some portal guys. There's things that we shouldn't have done, and we'll get that fixed for next season. So that just goes to your point. Hey, things can change so quickly, boom or bust. Kennesaw, boom for them. It really can change so much season to season.
Yeah, no, good points. And I may be wrong, but I don't think there's a ton of kids that we are going after in high school recruiting, or that we will be going after in the portal here in a few weeks, that we're not going to get because we went 5-7 as opposed to 8-4. I just don't think that's a huge factor for us. I mean, when you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, yes, that matters a lot more. But for us, I don't think. Now, I mean, there is something to be said if you're 2-10 or if you're 12-0. I think those extremes can matter. But I think when you're somewhere between 4 and 8 wins, I'm not sure at our level that it matters as much, especially when we've had the success in the past that we've had.
Yeah, and the whole, come play in a bowl game. No one plays in bowl games anyway. So it's kind of like, obviously you want to be in a bowl game. Don't take this wrong. But it's like, is a kid who's riding the bench at Ole Miss 4 and 8 wins, it's not going to be that big. If anything, we say, hey, we've been to the top of the mountain before.
Help us get back.
Yeah, help us get back. So I don't think that's
good. John, player personnel kind of question really quickly. This is from Aaron Emerson on Twitter. He said 4-star freshman Jalen Coleman picked up 10+ yards every time he touched the ball. Why don't we play him more? Obviously, you're not the coaches. You don't know that. But have you seen anything from Coleman that you like, or do you have any insights there?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And, he has looked really good. True freshman. We're going to burn his red shirt. He's playing more because of Juju has gotten injured. If you go back to the UTEP game, it was I think the first play was a running back fade to Juju for 30 yards. And then the next play was a screen pass to Jalen Coleman for another 30 yards. And then we didn't go back to either one of them the rest of the game, which was really weird. But ever since then, Jalen Coleman has seen his production increase a little bit each and every week, and I love to see it. I think he's a very explosive player and someone hopefully we can keep on the team moving forward. Talented player. One thing that I think is interesting, and we talked about this several weeks ago earlier in the season, I don't understand why, some of these play calls and designs we've had for Jalen Coleman, I didn't see those same type of plays for Juju Gray early in the year. And Jalen Coleman's a similar player to Juju. Juju's just more experience and the veteran and the leader in the room. And I think I mentioned on the podcast early in the year about I was confused as to why we weren't getting Juju more involved. Maybe he had an injury he was fighting through all season, and we just didn't know that, and that's why. But I felt like that was a missed opportunity there. But yeah, I mean, Jalen has looked really good, and I think we need to get him, more touches. I think the staff has done good, like Dante Lee. We've done good getting him more and more touches as the season's gone on. Same with Evan Dickens. Like Dickens came out of nowhere, third, fourth string to start the season, and now he's had 28 carries the last 2 weeks. So the staff has seen those things and made the necessary adjustments in the game plan to get those guys the ball more. And again, I don't think necessarily offensive production overall has been our downfall. Like I believe I have to go back and double check this, but I think we've had 4 games, including this FIU game, where we had won the total yardage battle but lost the game. So I don't think our offense is necessarily total offensive output. Yeah, sure, we've had moments where play calling is questionable and execution wasn't correct, and we didn't finish in the red zone, all those sort of things. But I don't think it's all just, negative on the offensive side of the ball. There's a few glimmers of hope and bright spots we can point to.
Yeah.
John, for being a paid shill and being a Glazer, I don't think that's very nice.
Well, hey, that's fine. I've heard that, if I say things that Liberty's going to, pull all my credentials and not let me around the program anymore and stuff. And, that's fine.
Hey, listen, it's happened before, not with this staff, but it's happened before.
Well, worse than that, it was threatened to be shut down, and that was nothing that I even said. But, hey, who knows?
Who's never going to pull your credentials, John?
Who's that?
Leesburg, Florida.
Leesburg,
Florida.
No. Save that for next week on the pod.
Yeah. I got 2 last questions from Twitter. This next one, it'll be more off-season talk related, but we could start talking about it slightly. Percent chance Vasco is the starter next season?
Very low, in my opinion. What I think is really interesting of the 5 quarterbacks, and I don't know if I had this thought internally back at the beginning of the season. I don't know if we ever talked about it or on the podcast or anything. How many of the 5 quarterbacks currently on the team are on the team next year? From Ryan Berger, from Vasco, Ethan Houck, Bradford, and Merdinger. Like, I'm not sure, but I don't expect Vasco to be the starter next year. I don't expect the starting quarterback is on the roster currently. That's my guess.
I'll contest to that. Yeah, I agree.
No.
I won't put a percentage on it because what do I know? Things happen so quickly. But yeah, I tweeted this. I said and I said it last week. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting the same results. So we look at the results of this year not being what we had hoped for, what we expected. That I don't see a world where we're like, yeah, run it back. So. Yeah. Slim.
Definitely. Agreed. Last one, at least from Twitter. And I think it seemed like maybe in Chadwell's press conference today, something kind of this vein was asked, or he talked about it briefly. But John, Richie, from y'all's opinions, what do y'all think the coaching staff thought would happen this year that didn't work out? Was there anything that you think they were really expecting to come through and, it really hasn't, outside of the obvious answer, I think, is everything in a way, but do you have any thoughts there?
I think the first thing I think of is Vasco. Like he hasn't worked out. I saw a comment in here from our guy Turtle talking about a quarterback. Here it was. Defense is more to blame than offense, but Vasco's made way, way too many mistakes in big spots. I agree with that. Like, there's been moments, I mentioned some of them earlier. There's been moments where he just made some bad plays, some poor choices, poor decisions, missed on some open receivers. And I think that's been the biggest thing. I think some of his poor decisions and turnover prone plays have kind of cost the team in critical moments. And I don't think the staff expected him to have those type of struggles for a guy that has so much experience under his belt. I don't think anybody expected him to come in and be Caden Salter or Malik Willis or anybody like that, obviously. But he hasn't been, he's hurt us too many times when we brought him in to be a guy that is a game manager and doesn't hurt you. He hasn't done that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I don't want to say this. We've talked about before locker room issues last year, what that looked like. We'll never know the full piece of it. I think that they thought that they could overcome that with a strong culture and a strong locker room. And the on-the-field play didn't equate to what, again, instead of last week, what seems to be a positive culture and a positive locker room. So finding that blend of, I'm not saying you need a bad locker room, but finding players that, fit the culture, but also have the talent on the field.
I will say I see some comments in the chat about Dante Lee. He's had a great season. His numbers don't truly show how good he's been. He's still got more eligibility, and I hope it's in a Liberty uniform.
Yeah. I'm going to ask one last question myself, just spurred on by that. If you're right now, if you had to say who's the one player on this team that you want to make sure is in a Liberty uniform next season? If you had to choose one.
Evan Dickens?
Yeah, that's the first one that comes to my mind. He's the first one. The second one would be Dante Lee, just because we didn't find one last year. We were looking for a Dante Lee last year, and no one ever stepped up. But he's that guy that can be a C.J. Daniels type player, provided we have the quarterback play to get him the ball. But yeah, Evan Dickens would be the first name that comes to my mind.
And then Ethan Houck 3.
I mean, he's going to win the Heisman at Ohio State, right?
At Ohio State in 2027. So might have been 28.
Yeah, I think on defense, I'm not sure if there's any one player that I can think of that we really need to have. A lot of the guys I'm thinking of are seniors and aren't going to have any eligibility back. And Brenton Williams has the potential to be a good player on the defensive end. He's shown some flashes, but hasn't been consistent enough. So, yeah.
I would be remiss too. I know we're already over an hour, but you look at some of those seniors John mentioned, what Brylan Green has done in his 4 years at Liberty is incredible. And losing a player like that is tough. He came in, he was going to be a baseball player, football player. Baseball team probably could have used him, but we're happy that we had him on the football field. But a senior like that, or just like a player, you won't see many Brylan Greens at Liberty moving forward, where you had 4 years of constant success on the field, off the field, in that capacity.
Yeah, shout out to Brylan, and he gets to play back in his home state this week at Louisiana Tech. So I'm sure he'll have looking forward to that and have a lot of fun down there. But I did, while you were talking, Richie, I thought of the defensive player I want to make sure we keep. It's Christian Bodner.
Yeah.
I think Bodner is probably on the Liberty team currently the most likely to make an NFL roster one day.
All right. Great show. Always great to chat with you guys, hear from the fans, and get different insights. Because at the end of the day, we all want Liberty football to succeed. I think we have different ways that we think that can happen. But ultimately, we all want to see success not just the fans, but the players, the coaches, the staff, and everyone in between as well. So Saturday, La Tech on the road, 3 p.m. ESPN Plus, safe bet.
Yes.
ESPN Plus, and win or lose, we'll see you next Tuesday. Could be our last episode. No, we'll do an off-season recap. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But hopefully we win. Maybe we go bowling. I don't know. Crazier things have happened in this world. So, on behalf of John Manson, CT, myself, make sure you are subscribed. YouTube, all the great post-conference, post-game press conferences, basketball podcasts, basketball seasons rolling along, all great Liberty Flame content is out there for you. And thank you again for tuning in. See you next Tuesday. Go Flames.